Hello neighbors and welcome back to the Noya Mountain Music Channel. I'm very excited because today I'm showing you Rawhide. Yay! The best part about this is that most of what we're going to be learning here today we've already learned in previous videos. So if you haven't gotten the engine of the simple arpeggio improv lick, you can check it out up here. Besides that, we're going to be doing some double stops and just a few little single note lines, which are going to be the hard parts. Let's go ahead and listen to it and I'll play it through. And oh yeah, one more thing. So I'm going to show it to you at a lower intermediate level, but then also give you some upgrades if you want to sound a little bit more complex and sophisticated and a little bit more like Bill Monroe. So here we go with Rawhide going a little bit medium. So how's this going to work? We need to understand first that it's in the key of C, and the chords are basically the same as the Lonesome Road Blues. So it goes C, 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 F, F, C, C, F, F, C, 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 G, 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 and back to C, and that all repeats. And then the B part, or the bridge, goes to E, E, 2, 3, 4, bars there. You can do a little razzle-dazzle lick if you want to in there. But what this is going to be mostly consisting of in the first part are strong double stops and a repeating rhythm which sounds like this. But before we get to that, we need to learn the pickup notes. So the pickup notes are all downstrokes. It starts on the 5th fret of the G, 2nd fret of the D, 3rd fret of the D. And if you're going to count this off, the count, with the modern count, the strong beat on the quarter note, would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. And that 1 is your downbeat. And that's going to be your good old 51 double stop. You can call out some of these numbers here, but if you haven't checked out the double stops number system, it can be a good thing to familiarize yourself with. Don't worry about it too much. They are the intervals in the scale or whatever chords you're in. But I'll tell you what the fingers are too. So this first double stop on the downbeat after your pickup notes is the 5th fret of the D and the 3rd fret of the A. Okay, so we're going to be sliding into that double stop with this rhythm. 1 E and a 2 E and a. When you get to the and of 2, you're going to take your fingers off and you're going to play the open A and open D string. So it's going to be like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then you slide into that 51 double stop again. And you do that a total of 3 times. And then you're going to come down here to the C7 partial chord, which is the 3rd fret of the G, 2nd fret of the D. I just want to clarify something here. So with the count, we're looking at 2 full bars of the C chord. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. And then when you come down here to the C7 partial chord, you'll have that 8th note on the 3rd beat. 3 and a 4 E and. You can end on the and of 4 there. 3 and a 4 E and before you go to the F chord there. But just keep in mind, these are 2 full bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before your F chord there. Just want to clarify that. So from the top, here's what we got with the pickup notes. But before we do, please like and subscribe. And go ahead and hit that little bell there for the notifications. And you'll get all the good stuff from Noya Mountain Music. Thank you. And please consider becoming a patron on patreon.com/Noya Mountain Music. 1, 2, 3. And 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a. Okay, you can also use the of that C7 chord play the open strings to get you in good stead to make that transition to your next chord, which is a 2-finger F chord. And this is what this is going to sound like. Okay, so that same premise. We're going to be playing the shuffle on the 2nd fret of the G, 3rd fret of the D, 1 and a 2 and And on that that upstroke, you can take your fingers off and play the open G and D string. When you're going fast, it sounds like this. Okay, so that's our little F chord business there. So from the top, here we go. 1, 2, 3. At that point, it's going to come back to the C chord, and we're going to use our yay simple improv lick to play the C run here. It's going to sound like this. All right, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 little shuffle on the 5th fret of the G, then moving through your arpeggio, 2nd fret of the D, downstroke, 5th fret of the D, downstroke, downstroke on the 3rd fret of the A, then right back down, 5th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the D, 5th fret of the G. So 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and if you want to upgrade that, just add your upstroke to all those downstrokes, which will sound like this. And when you get going fast, if you're moving a little bit on your upstroke to each of the new notes, that can create the staggered texture, which is really Monroe style, which sounds like this. Which is actually easier to play fast. So that's where that real rawhide sound can come into place there. All right, so we had our little F chord. But you don't have to play all that. You can play the simple improv lick. It's all good. All right, so taking it from the top. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. At this point, it comes back to the F chord. And in a very simple way, we're going to upgrade this, give you the opportunity to upgrade this. But at a simple level, you can play it like this. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and just 2 notes on that bar. 3rd fret of the D, 1 and a 2 and the 3rd fret of the A, 3 and a 4 and. Okay, that's a simple way to do it. If you want the more complex way to do it, it's going to be like this. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let me call that out to you note for note. So it starts on the 3rd fret of the D, 1 and a 2 E and. The and of 2 is going to be your 5th fret of the D. You come up to the open A, 3 E and A. The and of 3 is going to be the 3rd fret of the A. And then the 4th beat is going to be your 5th fret of the A, 4 E, and then back to the 3rd fret, and A. It's best if you can just hear that. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. And again, if you're moving with that upstroke first, it can kind of create more of the Monroe style texture. So you're anticipating each of those new notes. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's easier to play fast. But again, if that's too much, just go 3rd fret of the D, and then 3rd fret of the A. And if you catch a little bit of the upstroke on the open A if you're going fast, that can work for you, okay? So coming out of the simple improv lick in our 2nd C chord, simple way, just like that. A more complex way would be like this, coming out of the simple improv lick in C again. If you want to move on the upstroke, that's a little bit more of the Monroe sound there. So you keep that in mind, but just kind of flavor to your own taste and don't overwhelm yourself. Be gentle. This is a tough tune. All right? So now we're kind of at the most notey part of the song. Besides the very end, we're going to give you some simple options. But I also want to say that if you want to play the F and the 2nd C chord the same way, so when that repeats F to C, F to C, you can play it like this. And just repeat that. to keep it simple, you can repeat those 2 chords. All right, so now here is the notey line. We're going to show it to you in a simple way. Here's what the lick sounds like. All right, coming off your open E, 1 stroke, 5th fret of the A. These are all downstrokes. 3rd fret of the A, twice. So you got open 5, 3, 3. Then 1st fret of the A, 5th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the D, and then the bottom note is the 5th fret of the G. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if you want to use your little finger on the 7th fret of the A, that's also good too, because that'll get your little finger in the game, and also down the road when you might want to learn more of the exact note for note Monroe style. You can have that little finger practiced up a little bit, but don't worry about it. You can play the open E string. It's all good. All right, so this is coming after this part. And you can upgrade it by playing your upstroke. All right, so that little part with the upgrade. Do both the upgrades, it would sound like this. Alright, now it's going to go to the last G chord before the A part repeats. And lucky for us, we can just put a little boogie woogie in there. You can check it out here if you haven't already. It's really easy, it just sounds like this. That's it. Open 4th, open D, 2nd, 3rd fret, 2nd, open 4th fret of the G. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all downstrokes to be simple. If you want to add the upstroke as an upgrade, totally cool. Down, up, 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 down, up. And then after that, you're back into the bottom of your C chord. 5th fret of the G, 2nd fret of the D. Just do a little shuffle there. Okay, play 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Okay, so that's the whole A part. That is all you really need to know to play the first part of Rawhide. So let's play it together very slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 knee and a 2 knee and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 knee and a 2 knee and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 knee and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 knee and 3 and a 4 knee and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 knee and a 3 and a 4 and... All right, they's out there running the lawnmower, so we jumped inside here for the last playthrough with all the upgrades, and then we're going to jump into the B part. All right, so here we are playing through the more advanced intermediate level with all the upgrades. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. So that's the A part, okay? So the B part goes to the chord of E, all right, which is the 3rd note in the C scale. So you can call it the 3 chord. It goes 3, 6, 2, 5 before returning to the 1 to start over, okay? The great thing about this whole system and learning by ear is that we take our modules, for instance, our simple improv lick, we just reverse the direction. We play that on each of the following chords, which is going to be A and D. Okay, so our E part is going to sound like this. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and that's 1 bar. Then we're going to start it from the top, your middle finger note. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and that's it. Then we go to A and do it. Upstairs to D and do it. And if you wanted the super easy way to do it, you could just do that over G. And then your break is done. Okay, let's talk about some upgrades. It can be this easy when you're learning by ear. All right, so if you just add your upstroke to all of that, I would suggest ending the E chord on the and of 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and with that downstroke to give you enough time to get to the A chord cleanly. And again, when you're moving on the upstroke instead of hitting each new note on a downstroke, that's the downstroke. It's a little bit harder to do if you're moving on the upstroke. Down, up, 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 down. It's easier to play fast. Again, when you do it from the top, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's easier to play fast, and it has more of the Monroe style texture. So if you're going to play this all the way through, just with the upgrade of the upstrokes, it would sound like this. 1, 2, ready, go. That could be a perfectly decent B part break. And you heard me in there sometimes ending the first bar of each chord on a downstroke leg. Right there, and not playing the last upstroke of that bar and starting the high simple arpeggio leg with the downstroke. So you end up with 2 downstrokes in a row. That can be good for phrasing. But the idea is just to kind of play it as good as you can. If it sounds good, it is good. If it feels good, even better. All right, so we've already talked about the simplest thing you can do, which is this. And then adding your upstroke. Okay, so now let's talk about some upgrades for the big G chord, which is where a lot of people play fancy lick in there. Bill Monroe, his first break on the record, he went like this. So he played 1 bar of G with the big strum, and then a big strum on the C chord too. On the other breaks, he played something like this. A real notey passage. We're not going to learn that. If you want to check that out, that's in the Monroe style improvising courses. You can learn that all note for note, hack and teaching video, all that kind of stuff. We're learning something a little simpler today, but we are going to stay on the G chord for 2 full bars. And so what you want to do on the first bar is play long notes on each of the strings for your 2-finger G chord. So 2nd fret of the A, 3rd fret of the E. So open G, open D, 2nd fret of the A, 3rd fret of the E. So it's your 2-finger G chord, just playing each of those strings individually. And one of my favorite things to do for the second bar is this. Okay, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You're going to strum across all the strings for your first 8th note. 1, and then 2nd fret of the E, and 1st fret of the E, 2, and then 5th fret of the A, and so that's 1 and 2, and the 3rd beat is 2nd fret of the A, 3, and then 5th fret of the D, and then walk that up, open A, 2nd fret, 3rd fret of the A. All right, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, and then you kind of be back into your chop at that point. So that would be your quarter note long notes and your strum. So that's a good option. Another thing that you can do would be like this. So you do your first bar and just go like this. Let me call that out. So you get all downstrokes. 3, 1 on the E string, 5, 2 on the A string, 5, 3, open on the D string, and then 4th fret of the G. So that's 3, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, open, 4, and then you're back at the bottom of your C chord to get back into your chop. It'll be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Also double those notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. So that's a good way to do it. Okay, now let's let's learn something a little bit more notey, which would be like this. And this is going to be really a little bit challenging for some of the more beginner folks. I'll call it out to you. 3, 1, 0. And then you're going to cross to your upstroke on the 5th fret of the A. 5, 3, 2, 0. Okay, let's get that. 3, 1, 0, 5, 3, 2, 0. Then we're going to continue with our upstroke on the 5th fret of the D. 5, 3, 2, 0. This is a lot of notes. After your open D, you're going to hit the upstroke on the 5th fret of the G, 4th fret of the G, and an upstroke on the open G. All right. And then walk it back up to your 5th fret of the G. 2, 4, 5. All right, that'd be super notey. All right, just make sure you're hitting that 3rd fret of the D. That's your flat 7, and your 1st fret of the E. Also your flat 7 on the upper octave. All right, that's the whole thing. So let's play it through. We'll play it through simple, and then we'll play it through with the upgrades, and then we'll be done. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 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 3, and 4, and 1, and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Again. Here's D. So just remember, you can do your simple improv lick on the G chord to keep it easy. Okay, so now let's do it one time through with all the upgrades. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Big inning, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the whole thing, folks. I hope you've enjoyed learning Rawhide here today. If you liked the video, please smash like. And you can think about subscribing to the channel and leaving us a little comment to tell us what you're connecting with. And if you'd like to support the channel and all these videos that are coming out almost every single Monday here on YouTube, you can go to patreon.com/Noya Mountain Music and look at all the different tiers of support that come with lots of different rewards, all the way from note-for-note videos to free workshops. And you can find something that suits you there if you like. So thank you very much, neighbors, and we will see you on the next one.